someone is experiencing on whether you can't see the screen, or else whether you can't hear me properly, please let me know, right? So I'll continue then. In the long run production, we identified that all the inputs are variable, and also um, we discussed the production function in the isochron curve. Right? We identified the production function in the long run is the isochron curve. It is shown in the isochron curve. So under a available cost line, or else under a available cost, we identify the producer equilibrium is occurring in the point where it is tangent to the isochron curve, right, Lamai? So tangent mean not the crossing, right? We identified the several points where it crossed, but a tangent mean the place where it kisses, right? Or else place where it touches the isochron curve, right? So in the place where it where the isochron curve touches the isochron curve, we identified the producer equilibrium, right, Lamai? Then we identified the way to increase the production path, and by the increasing of inputs, the cost of the production is increasing, and also the long run production is also increasing, right? So in the places where all these stages, or else all these development periods of the inputs, we identified the line which shows the producer equilibrium is the production expansion, right? Those are the things that we discussed in the previous lecture. Today we have to discuss some important points in long run production, right? Let me share my screen then. Can you see it, Lamai? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have to discuss the returns to scale in here, and also another 3 different topics, right? Long run production. In long run production, we are going to discuss another 3 different points which will be effect to increase the knowledge on the long run production, right? So in the first part, we are going to talk about the ridge lines, right? And then we are going to discuss about the returns to scale, right? And then the Cobb-Douglas production function. Cobb-Douglas production function, right? We are going to discuss these 3. I think I can finish these 3 about within 1 hour, and we'll move to the theory of cost, right? I have provided you the presentation on that also, but I have to add some things to the latter part of the presentation. We'll use the updated details today, and I'll provide the full lesson in the next session. So it is better if you can make the notes on the in an your own note, right? Not with the presentation, because I am going to change it. The things that up to now, up to the updated ones, I am not going to change, but the but the latter part of the presentation, right? So in the very beginning of today's session, we are going to identify the economical region of production. That means in long run, you identified different types of regions, isn't it? In a place where the what you called isocos curve touches the isocon curve is the place where the producer makes the equilibrium decision. But with the increasement of the inputs, right, we identify this point. This point, likewise. So in isoconcave, right? See here, in isoconcave, you have different types of production places, right? You have, we'll extract the isoconcave from this. We identify different types of economical, what we call economical or production places. It may be in here, am I? In the whiteboard, right? Did you see saw the things that I drew in the whiteboard?
No, sir.
Then I have to start it again, no? Okay. I was talking on the concept of rigid lines, am I right? So simply,
recording in progress.
so in here we identified K, right? We are drawing the long run production function in here, right? L, right? So by mixing K with L, we identified the long run production in the isocon curves. Right, Lama? Like here, it. Can you see the things that I am drawing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, Namai, see the graph, right? See the graph. See what has happened in these places. The graphs, right? The graphs has lost his or its shape, right? That means in here to here, you identified a negative slope. right? But after onwards, what happened to the slope? Slope is upward trending, right, Lamai? So in these points, once you increase the amount or increase the units of capital, what happened to the production? Production is turning like this. That means the MPL is become a negative value from this point onwards. Or otherwise, we'll talk on the point of labor, right? In the point of labor, we identify these places, the negative slope is over, right? Once after these points, the curves are shifting upward. That means the MPL value, right? Marginal productivity of labor, the amount of production increases with the increase of labor units is becoming a negative value. So in these places, Lamai, we identified MPL is 0, equals to 0. In here, MPK equals to 0, right, Lamai? So if we draw these points together, just assume these points are here, right? I'm just rushing this because I have discussed this without the knowledge of that. I have lost my connection, right? So in these places, MPL is 0, right? From here, see in these points, see what happens in this point. The shape of the isocon curve, right, has changed, right, has changed. It shows the upward trend, right? The increasing of the labor units have not effectively contributed to increase the production, right? Right. So you identify the rigid lines in these points, right? Once after these points, Lamai, the marginal production of these inputs is decreasing, right? So in the places, in the places where the marginal production of inputs equals to 0, we can identify the ridge lines, and inside these ridge lines, we identify the economical region to operate. Right, Lamai? So don't just identify the concept of economical region to produce as the inside area of the ridge lines. May ridge lines hatule, right? තියෙන area එක තමයි operate වෙන්න හොඳම area එක කියලා ඔයාලා just හිතන්න එපා. ඔයාලා තේරුම් ගන්න ඕන එක තමයි marginal production එක මේ capital එක වැඩි කරද්දී ප්‍රාග්ධනය වැඩි කරද්දී ප්‍රාග්ධනයේ ආන්තික ප්‍රතිලාභය නැත්නම් ආන්තික නිෂ්පාදනය බිඳුව වන අවස්ථාවල තමයි අපි රිච් ලයින් එක අඳුරගන්නේ. එතකොට මේ රිච් ලයින් ඉකොනොමිකල් රීජන් එක කියලා කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ inputs දෙකේ marginal production එක ආන්තික නිෂ්පාදනය ධන අවස්ථාවන් වන වෙලාවේදී නැත්තම් තවදුරටත් කිව්වොත් මේ inputs වල ආන්තික නිෂ්පාදනයක් තියෙන වෙලාවල් වලට inputs වැඩි කරද්දී production එක වැඩි වෙන අවස්ථාවල් වල තමයි අපි economically operate වෙන්න ඕනේ. Right lamai? That is the same meaning of ridge lines. So ridge lines are the locus of points on the isochrones where the marginal products of inputs are equal to 0. Right? It shows the feasible areas to produce. Like I explained, it is the feasible area to produce. Lower rigid line. This is lower rigid line. Just identify in the lower rigid line the labor or the marginal production of labor is equal to 0. Upper rigid line means where the marginal product of capital is equal to 0. Right? So have you got my point, Lamai? Tell me. We had some issues. Have you got the point? Tell me. I definitely need. Sorry. Hari. Rigid lines කියන්න ළමයි. දැන් අපි දිගු කාලයේදී right දිගු කාලයේදී අපේ සමනිෂ්පාදන වක්‍රය නැත්නම් isocon curve එක මෙන්න මේ shape වලින් අඳුනගත්තනේ. එතකොට අපි බලන්න යන්නේ මොන area එකේද වැඩිපුරම right වැඩිපුරම operate වෙන්න සුදුසු කියලා. right එතකොට අන්න ඒ area එක අපි තෝරාගද්දී අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අඳුනා ගන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේ K capital නැත්නම් labor කියන inputs දෙකෙන් ජනනය කරන marginal productivity එක ගැන. right එතකොට මෙන්න මේ කියන අවස්ථාවන් වල දැන් negative slope එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේම ළමයි marginal production එක marginal production එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒකල කියන්නේ inputs වැඩි කරන වේගය ඒ කියන්නේ inputs වැඩි කරද්දී production එක වැඩි කරනවා කියන්නේ. right එතකොට අපි මෙන්න මේ අවස්ථාවන් වල අපිට පේනවා මෙන්න මේ isocon curve එක shift නැත්නම් shape එක වෙනස් වීගෙන යනවා. negative එක positive පැත්තට හැරීගෙන යනවා. හරිද? එතකොට මෙන්න මේ විවිධ මේ points වල අපිට marginal productivity එක ගණනය කරොත් අපිට ඒකට value එකක් එනවා. positive value එකක් එනවා. right හැබැයි මෙතනින් එහාට අපිට මේ marginal production එකේ negative value එකක් තමයි ජනනය වෙන්නේ. ඒ කියලා කියන්නේ අපි inputs වැඩි කරද්දී අපේ production එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ. production එක negative තමයි වෙන්නේ. හරිද? එතකොට මෙන්න මේ එක inputs වල marginal production එක 0 වන අවස්ථා. හරිද? අපි අඳුනා ගන්නවා එකට යා කරලා rigid lines කියලා. right එතකොට අපිට මේ inputs දෙකේම rigid lines නැත්නම් marginal production එක 0 වන අවස්ථා හඳුනා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් marginal production එක මෙන්න මේ rigid lines වල එළියේ ආන්තික නිෂ්පාදනය මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඍණාගයක් තමයි ගන්නේ. right එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ rich lines ඇතුළේ ප්‍රදේශය අපි අඳුනා ගන්නවා economically producer කෙනෙක් produce කරන්න සුදුසුම right සුදුසුම place එක කියලා. Right? Is it okay? Okay, na?
Okay, sir.
Ari, thank you. So in the lower rigid line, MPL is 0. In the upper rigid line, marginal productivity of capital is equal to 0. Then this is a clear graph, right? Even though it is somewhat what to call, when I drag the image, this happens, but I think the image is clear, right? Look at what happens to the isocon curve. It takes a upward shift in here. It is more clear than my explanation, right? The one I drew, right? See what happens to the slope. Slope is positive, right? So in this place, MPL is, MPK is 0. In here also 0, right? So we identified this as the economically, what you call, economically benefited region to produce, right? In different types of production curves, we identify the economic region to production by this, right? So rigid lines, this has described the what you call this one, right? R2 is the upper rigid line, is the collection of points where MP of capital is equal, marginal product of capital is 0, as I explained. R2, lower rigid line, is the collection of points where the MP of labor is 0, right? That means marginal production of the labor is 0 in the second rigid line. This is rigid line 2, right? That means the lower rigid line. Look at here, R2, name this as, right? Name this. This is as the lower rigid line. This is as the upper rigid line. Name these two. Right? So negatively sloped portions of the production of isocont are in between the rigid lines. Negatively sloped portions of the production isocont are in between rigid lines. That means in here, negative portion, right, Lamai? Negative portion is in between these two, right? Positively sloped portions are irrational and they are beyond these rigid lines. ඍණ බෑවුමක් තියෙන කොටස් isocont curve එක නැත්නම් දිගු කාලීන නිෂ්පාදන වක්‍රයේ ඍණ බෑවුමක් සහිත කොටස් අපි මේ rigid lines ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා කියලා හඳුනා ගන්න. positive slope තියෙන කොටස් මෙන්න මේ rigid line එකකින් එළියේ තියෙනවා කියලා තමයි හඳුනා ගන්න. Right? Is it clear? Is it clear, Lamai?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we need to discuss the topic of returns to scale. The second topic in this session, returns to scale. Right? So before that, right, before talking on the returns to scale in the long run, tell me how we identify the returns of the short run? Can anyone remember? Right? Can anyone remember how we identified the returns to scale or else short run returns by basing on how? Tell me, anyone? Can anyone remember how we identified the returns to scale in short run? Or else tell me returns in short run. How we identified? කෙටි කාලයේදී production එක කොහොමද ළමයි හැසිරුනේ මට කියන්න. Total production එක. How it behaved? It behaved like this, right? You have to know this, right? Can you remember? මතකත් නැද්ද? කෙටි කාලයේදී කොහොමද අපේ නිෂ්පාදනය හැසිරුනේ? නිෂ්පාදනය හැසිරුනේ law of diminishing marginal returns. Right? මතක නැද්ද? හීනවන ආන්තික පළදා න්‍යාය අනුව. දැන් ඒකේ මම පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා law of diminishing marginal returns තියෙන්නේ short run එකේ විතරයි කියලා. This will be your questions, right? මම පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා මෙන්න මේ diminishing marginal returns තියෙන්නේ short run එකේ කියලා. right? මොකද diminishing marginal return එක අපි කරේ return එකේදී කිව්වේ කෙටි කාලීනේදී labor කියන resource එක capital එක mix කරද්දී ප්‍රථමයෙන්ම increasing rate එකෙන් production එක වැඩි කරනවා ඊට පස්සේ decreasing rate එකෙන් වැඩි වෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ ඒක negative වගේක් වෙනවා. ඕකනේ අපි මේ කෙටි කාලීනේදී returns theory ගැන කතා කරේ. right? සරලව කිව්වොත් returns කියන්නේ කොහොමද output එක එළියට එන්නේ කියලා. right? In which portion? In which way? Right? So this is the short run one, right? Law of diminishing marginal return. In long run, we identified the law of production operates in the returns to scale. Right? In long run, law of diminishing marginal returns do not operates. In long run, returns can be identified as returns to scale. Right? So returns to scale means, right, what happens to your output when the input is changing, right? Or else what amount of output is changing when your input is changing in a proportional manner, in a percentage manner, in which percent the output changes by increasing the input percentage. That is what is meant by the returns to scale. Right? So returns to scale refers to the degree by which output changes as a result of a given change in the quantity of all inputs used in the production. Right? Quantity of all inputs when the input is changing, when the input is increasing, in percentage, what happens to the output? In percentage, right? For a simple example, if you increase the inputs by 10%, what amount of percent do the output changes, right? That is the simple meaning of what you call returns to scale, right? So by basing on these returns to scale, we can identify 3 types of returns to scale, right? Those are increase in returns to scale, constant returns to scale, and decrease in returns to scale. So in simply, increase in returns to scale means the percentage difference, right? Percentage increase of the input is decreased than the percentage increase of the output. Or otherwise, simply remember that when the output is increasing more than the increasing percentage of the input, the increasing returns to scale is occurring. When the input is increasing by 10% and output is increasing in 20%, we identify that as a increase in returns to scale. වැඩි වන පළදාව කියලා කියන්නේ, right? Output එක වැඩි වෙනවා input එක වැඩි කරන percentage එකට වඩා. Output increases by a greater proportion. මේ proportion එක මේකට වඩා වැඩි. The property of a production processes whereby the proportional increase of in every input yields a more than proportional increase in the output, right? මේ input එකෙන් yield කරන output එක මේකේ percentage එකට වඩා, මේකේ proportion එකට වඩා වැඩි. හරිද? ඒක තමයි මේකෙන් පැහැදිලි වෙන්නේ. ඒතර constant return to scale කියලා කියන්නේ මේක මේ විදිහට පැහැදිලිව තේරුම් ගත්තා නම් ඔයාලට මේක පැහැදිලි තේරුම් ගන්න ලේසි. එතකොට constant returns to scale කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි input වැඩි කරන proportion එක වගේ සමාන ගුණයකින් output එකත් වැඩි වෙනවා නම් අපි ඒක identify කරගන්නවා what constant return to scale කියලා, right? So the output increases in the same proportion, right? Here greater proportion. The property of production processes whereby a proportional increase in every input yields an equal proportional increase in the output. That means the input yields a same output proportion, right? මේක වැඩි කරන එකෙන් ජනනය කරනවා same amount එකක් output එකට, right? Input එක රුපියල් 1000ක් වැඩි කරොත් output එකත් අපිට රුපියල් 1000ක් වැඩිපුර හම්බ වෙනවා. ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක්. Decrease in returns to scale කියලා කියන ළමයි output increases by a lesser proportion. මේක 110කින් වැඩි කරද්දී output එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ 105කින් විතරයි නා. ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක් අපි decrease in returns to scale කියලා හඳුනා ගන්නවා. Sorry, right? The property of production processes whereby a proportional increase in every input yields a less than value, equal value. right? More than value, right? Is it clear? Returns to scale. You need to identify how this return to scale or else why this return to scale concept need to discuss. The first thing is that, and what is meant by the returns to scale concept, and then the types of returns to scale, right? See here, when the increase of the input is 100%, right? What happened to the increase of the output also? It is also 100. මේක ඒකක තුනකින් දෙපැත්තම වැඩි කර. එතකොට 100ක් වෙලා තිබ්බ එක 200ක්. එහෙනම් 100% තමයි change එක වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි මේක 100% වැඩි කරද්දි, right? මේක වැඩි වෙලා කොච්චරකින්ද? 200% වලින්. right? එහෙනම් මේක අපි increasing returns to scale කියලා අඳුනා ගන්න. මේ graphs වලින් වැඩි දුර වලට තොරතුරු දෙනවා මේක identify කරගන්න concept එක. right? Decrease in returns to scale කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ළමයි මේක 100කින් වැඩි වෙද්දී මේක වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන බලන්න 50කින් විතරයි. වැඩි වෙලා හැබැයි proportional rate එක අඩුයි. right? Is it clear? තමයි returns to scale. අපි අද තියෙන දෙවෙනි point එකත් කතා කරා. Clear the?
Yes.
Okay. Then we need to discuss the third topic or third what you call the segment, anything, as the Cobb-Douglas production function, right? So lamai, we can in long run, right? In long run, just I'll lay the foundation to here, right? You need to just to discuss what is mean by Cobb-Douglas production function, and also its characteristics only, right? We have much more calculations in here, Cobb-Douglas production function, but you are not required for the calculations, right? Since you are learning both micro and macro in one course unit, no need to have calculations, but you need to have a knowledge in Cobb-Douglas, what is meant by Cobb-Douglas production function and its characteristics, right? So in Lamai, the thing that is discussed in here that is then in long run we can identify, right, different types of, right, different types of production functions, right? Different types of production functions. We'll draw them at first, right? This is one. Can you name this, Lamai?
What is that graph? Can you name it? දැන් මම ඇඳපු graph එකට ළමයිට නමක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? පුළුවන්ද ළමයි? දැන් මම ඇඳපු graph එකට ළමයිට නමක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. පළවෙනියට මම ඇඳපු graph එකට. It is the isochrone graph, right? Isn't it? Isochrone band, yes. Right. In the long run production lamai, we can identify different types of production functions. Right. In each of these production graphs lamai, the thing that is discussed is that the production function එක කොහොමද ඇසිරලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා තමයි මේ different types of graphs වලින් අපි කතා කරන්නේ. Right? In the very first graph, we identified it as the what? Isocont. Right? Isocont. Right? In here, we shows a linear production function. This is the linear production function. Right, Lamai? And in this graph, it is the Liotif. You need to what you called just write it. Liotif production function. Lamai, you need not to have knowledge on this Liotif, right? You even not have to knowledge on this word, right? But to explain the Cobb-Douglas production function, I use this, right? Just to explain. So in long run, Lamai, you can identify these types of production function. Isocont, right? Linear production function and the Liotif, right? So by basing on the shape of this curve, right? By basing on the shape of this curve, tell me, what is the shape? What is the shape? This is linear, but this is a non-linear production function. So we can tell that this is a non-linear production function. Right? Non-linear production function. Right? Non-linear production function. Just keep it aside. Go for this linear production function. What happens to in the linear function is that, Lamai, when the inputs, all the inputs are perfectly substituted, right? You can see the linear production function occurs, or the what you call the slope of this, right? Slope of this production function is equal to same amount. මේ හැම තැනකදීම එකම amount එක. A කියලා කියන්නේ අපි K එකයි L එකයි. මෙතෙන්ද අපි K, right? මෙතෙන්ද L. මෙහෙමනේ අපි ගන්නෙ. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම ළමයි කතා කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් graph එකෙන් නැත්නම් ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් ලයින් එකකින් නැත්නම් මේ ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් ෆන්ක්ෂන් එක පෙන්වන graph එකකින් අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම කතා කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? කතා කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ inputs දෙක යොදාගෙන අපේ ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා විවිධ අවස්ථාවන් වල k වලින් එක ප්‍රමාණයකුයි l වලින් ප්‍රමාණයකුයි දාපුවම අපේ ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක කොහොමද හැසිරෙන්නේ? k වලින් තව ප්‍රමාණයක් දාද්දි l වලින් තව ප්‍රමාණයක් දාද්දි අපේ ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක කොහොමද හැසිරෙන්නේ? අන්න ඒක තමයි අපි මේ ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් graph එකේ කතා කරන්නේ. ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකේ කතා කරන්නේ. මම හිතනවා ඒක පැහැදිලි කියලා ඔයාලට. right? එතකොට මෙන්න මේ යොදාගන්න inputs perfectly substitute නැති හින්දා තමයි ළමයි linear නැත්නම් non linear pattern එකක් නැත්නම් isochronic curve එකක් හැදෙන්නේ. මොකද k වලින් දෙන efficiency එක අපිට l වලින් දෙන්න බෑ. සමහරක් වෙලාවට l වලින් දෙන efficiency එක k වලින් දෙන්න බෑ. හැබැයි in extraordinary cases, in the extreme cases, සමහර විශේෂ අවස්ථාවන් වල k එකෙන් දෙන efficiency එක l එකෙන් දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක perfectly substituted නේ. පූර්ණ විදියට මේකට ආදේශ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවල අපේ production function එක මොකක්ද? linear production function එකක්. right? Is it clear? ළමයි, is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I am just asking these questions to check whether the connection is also fluently flowing, right? Then in this L-shaped one, when the inputs are perfectly complement, it takes L shape, right? So don't go for a lengthy what you call definition here. Just identify when the inputs are perfectly substituted. Just write it. When the inputs are perfectly substituted, you get a L type of production function and also L type of production curve, right? So we can identify these types of production functions in long run. So this is linear, this is relative, and this is isochronic or non-linear production curves. So the economists Cobb and Douglas together found out this non-linear production function as Cobb-Douglas production function. Right, Lamai? This is the basement for the Cobb-Douglas production function. That means when the production function takes a non-linear pattern, we identified it as the Cobb-Douglas production function. Right? Is it clear? I think yes, right? So we are again coming to the presentation. See, they have forwarded the equation for the production as Q equals AL to the power of A, K to the power of B. Right, Lamai? In here we can take it as B and C also, right? That means B means, right? B means the efficiency of the labor. I'll discuss it, right? I'll discuss it. Q means the output, Lamai, manufacturing output, as I mentioned earlier, right? L, A represents, clearly denote this, right? A represents the inputs other than labor and capital. Right? Inputs other than labor and capital. A denotes inputs other than labor and capital. Pragdane saha shramaya novana other inputs. We take this as a constant value, right? It is not change. It is a constant value. L is the labor, and here B. You can take B also, right? B and C. B equals, right? B equals to the efficiency of the usage of labor, right? K is the capital, and C denotes, right? C denotes the efficiency of the capital, right? The efficiency of the capital, right? After identifying the Cobb-Douglas production function, right? So how you going to draw the Cobb-Douglas production function? It is A K, sorry, A L B K C, right, Lama? So after identifying this production function, Cobb-Douglas production function, let's take, right? Let's take the efficiency level of these two and identify, right? Identify the returns to scale concept by that. ළමයි Cobb-Douglas කියන economists දෙන්න තමයි මෙන්න මේ production function එක දාලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට මේක අපිට පෙන්නනවා non-linear pattern එක. right ළමයි? ඒ කියලා කියන්නේ when the production function is non-linear. production function එක non-linear වෙද්දි. right? production function එක non-linear වෙන අවස්ථාවන් වල ඒක මෙන්න මේ වගේ shape එකක් ගන්න අවස්ථාවල අපි Cobb-Douglas production function එක identify කරගන්න. එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ labor එකයි capital එකයි යොදා ගන්න efficiency එක අනුව අපිට returns to scale concept එක Cobb-Douglas production function එකෙන් identify කරගන්න පුළුවන්. In simply ළමයි, when this efficiency, right, when the efficiency is equal to 1, right, we identify the returns to scale are constant. right lama? I will take example. අපි Cobb-Douglas production function එකේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම scenario එකක් දැක්කොත් L 0.5 or otherwise I'll take the 5, right? අපි Cobb-Douglas production function එක තුලින් returns to scale හඳුනා ගන්න. right? අපි අඳුනා ගත්තොත් මෙන්න මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක්. Q සමානයි A L, right? I am denoting this like this lamai, right?
So I have no options to minimize this amount, right? Just identify ළමයි මේ 0.5 කියලා කියන්නේ L to the power of 0.5 K to the power of 0.5 right මෙන්න මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අපි මොකක්ද හඳුනාගන්නේ මෙන්න මේ දෙකේ එකතුව එකකට සමානයි නම් right අපි මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක හඳුනා ගන්නවා constant return to scale right Q A to the A L to the power of 0 අපි මෙහෙම හිතමු 06 K එක 07 එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අපි දකිනවා K වලින් සහ L වලින් දෙන efficiency එක total එකක් විදියට what happened it shows a increase in return to scale right එකට වඩා වැඩි ඒ වගේම අපි A L 0.5 K 0.4 එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක right මෙන්න මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අපි decrease in return to scale කියන එක හඳුනා ගන්න right එහෙනම් B plus C or alpha plus beta equals to what 1 we identified this as what constant return to scale when the efficiency of these two labor and capital inputs is more than right more than 1 we identified it as increasing return to scale if the efficiency is less than 1 we identified it as the decreasing return to scale this is the way to identify the returns of scale by basing on Cobb-Douglas production function. Is it clear? Is it clear? Hello?
Yes.
Is it clear, Lamai?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Subodha, thank you. So, right? That is what is discussed in here. Right? Alpha beta measures return to scale or otherwise B and C measures returns to scale. Alpha beta means the efficiency of labor and capital. Efficiency of labor is known as alpha. Efficiency of capital is known as beta. Right? So what you called will take the concept like this. Marginal product of a factor depends on its amount used in the production. That means the marginal product that is generated from this input, right, depends on the amount used in the production. Right? Thus, marginal product of labor depends on the amount of marginal labor or the amount of labor used. The amount of efficiency that is generated by the usage of labor denotes in here, right? That shows the marginal product of labor. Cobb-Douglas production function measure output elasticities of labor and capital respectively, right? That is what is denoted by efficiency. Cobb-Douglas production function can be extended to include more than 2 factors. That is why we have A in here, right? So we can take another input to here, right? And we can denote its efficiency in here also. So Cobb-Douglas production function can be expanded, right? then when the sum of the components in the two-factor Cobb-Douglas production function is equal to 0, may equal to 1, right? When the sum is equal to 1, right? When the sum of these two or the factors, right, it becomes a only a single value. The elasticity of substitution between two factors, labor and capital, in Cobb-Douglas production function is equal to unity. So the thing that we need to identify is that when this linear or when this non-linear pattern is here, right, Lama, this is the last point, right? We are not going further discuss on the Cobb-Douglas function by basing on the calculations. The last point that you need to identify in the Cobb-Douglas production function is that in linear production functions, right? This is non-linear, right? In linear, normally production function can be write as QA plus BL plus CK, right? Likewise, you can write this as a plus value, right? But when you need to take this efficiency and when you need to multiply this, you can't exactly take this for the calculations, right? In this mode, you can't take it. You need to convert into it by basing on algorithms, right? This is linear. You can take it directly, but this is non-linear. You can't take it directly. So you need to transform it into a log value, right? You need to take logarithms. So in general idea, right, I'm not going to tell you much more on the log functions, since I think you have familiar with this, right? Just identified the function, right? When we write this q as a log function, it can be denoted as log q equals, right? Each of these need to represent, or each of these need to talk by basing on logarithms, right? So q is log q plus a means log a. Up to here it is okay, right? අපි මේ හැම එකක්ම log values වලින් ලියන්න ඕන. එතකොට q අපි denote කරනවා log q කියලා, equal a denote කරනවා log a කියලා. අපිට මේ කොටස් හතරකට තුනකට බෙදන්න පුළුවන් නේ, right? එතකොට a කියලා කියන එක අපිට log a කියලා denote කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ළමයි logarithms වල rules වලට අනුව, right, this is for extra knowledge, you only need to have knowledge on this, just knowledge on this equation, right? එතකොට multiplication mark එකක් තියෙද්දි logarithms වලින් ලියද්දි ඒක plus mark එකක් වෙනවා. අපි මේ linear function එකක් විදියට මේක හදාගන්න තමයි යන්නේ. එහෙනම් මම කතා කරව plus marks මේකේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් මේ multiplication marks නැති වෙන්න නම් අපි ඒ logarithms වලට convert කරගන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ multiplication mark එක මෙතන plus mark එකක් විදියට එනවා. එතකොට log වලින් මෙන්න මේ what you called power values ලියද්දි, right, power values transform කරද්දි මේ power එක මුලට එනවා. මෙන්න මේ L වල මුලට එනවා. එහෙනම් a log
L tamai L to the power of beta just think sorry L to the power of alpha කියන එක alpha log L විදියට තමයි මෙතෙන් එන්නේ. මෙතන අපිට ආපහු multiplication තියෙනවා අපි ඒක plus විදියට ගන්නවා. K to the power of beta ලියද්දී අපේ logarithms වලට convert කරද්දී b log k විදියට තමයි ඒක මෙතෙන්ද add වෙන්නේ. Right? So now this is a linear function. For the calculations and other things, you can use this. Right? That is the last point on the Cobb-Douglas production function. In the Cobb-Douglas production function, in the very first, we laid the foundation on how the Cobb-Douglas production function can be identified as a non-linear production function. Right, Lamai? Then we got the production function here, and we identified different components in production function, and then we identified the way to show the production function, right? Or way to show the returns to scale by basing on production function, right? And last, we identified the conversion of the production function into a linear function, right? It concludes our 8th session or the 8th topic. So are you okay with that? Tell me. Long run production function එකේ ළමයි තව කොටස් තුනක් තමයි අපි අද කතා කරන්නේ. එකක් අපි Cobb-Douglas production function එකක් කියලා හඳුනාගත්තා. එතකොට Cobb-Douglas production function එක Cobb සහ Douglas කියන economists දෙන්න තමයි forward කරලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට Q equal A multiply by K to the L to the power of alpha K to the power of beta. ඔහොම තමයි අපි හඳුනාගත්තේ. Right, ළමයි? Then we identified that the return to scale by basing on those efficiency O alpha and beta, efficiency of inputs. Right? So up to now, I think it is all clear, right? Refer the notes, refer the other things. You may yes. Of course, yes. Log Q කියන එක ළමයි මම ඒක copy කරලා group එකට දාන්න අප. මම අරකින් පැහැදිලි කරපු හින්දා මේ කිව්වේ නැත්තේ. දැන් අපි alpha කියන එක ළමයි අපිට B කියලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. beta කියන එක අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් C කියලා. Right? එතකොට alpha කියන අපි ඒක දිගුවක් විදිහට ලියද්දී log Q සමානයි log A plus alpha කියන එක වෙනුවට අපි B කියන එක තමයි යොදාගෙන තියෙන්නේ. B log L plus beta කියන එක වෙනුවට අපි C තමයි යොදාගන්නේ. C log K. මේ විදිහට යොදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. Thank you for remembering, right? Any questions? Any questions up to now? To the concept of production, right? Next session එකත් ළමයි production concept එකෙන්ම යන lesson එකක්. You better not to take notes on the PPT or the slides, right? Make you or not, because I am changing some information, not in here, but in the
latter part of the presentation, right? So you may need to dual work that, right? If you take note on it. Right. So theory of cost. So when we looking at our flow of sessions, right? In the very beginning, Lamai, we identified the concept of economics, right? Concept of economics. Why we learning economics and what is meant by economic likewise. And then the evolution of the economics, right? How the economic concept have traveled step by step to the society, right? We talked on that. Then we identified different types of economical concept that will be helpful to helpful. Can you remember? Demand concept, supply concept, right? Concept of equilibrium, concept of elasticity, and concept of government intervention, right? We identified that those different types of concepts. Then after onwards, we identified how a consumer is behaving in an economy. By basing on different approaches, we identified that, right? If I take you what you call attention to the different approaches of those behaviors of the consumers. In the very beginning, we or else we separated those behaviors into three parts. The first part or the first behavior theory we discuss is the utility theory, right? In there, we identified the cardinal approach by meaning that the behavior can be measured by utilities. And then we went for the ordinal approach or the indifference curve approach. In there, we identified the behavior is optimized or the behavior can be or the optimum combination of goods and service that the consumer can be taken by basing on the place where the indifference curve touches or tangent to the budget line, right? Then we discuss how a price change affects to the substitution and the income effect. How we derive income and substitution effect in the what you call price change, right? Though I am not explaining or memorizing each and every point, Lamai, this is the content that we talked, right? Then we discuss about the revealed preference theory, small part we discussed, right? Then after discussing all those consumer behaviors, we went for the production, right? Or else we went for the producer side, right? In the producer side, Lamai, we identified different types of production time periods, isn't it? We identified the place where the producer can use only one variable output with a fixed output is the short run, because he can't change the old fixed factors or some factors cannot be changed in the short run, right? That is a short run production. And then we identified when we move in towards the production into the long run, we can identify both
all inputs can be changed, right? In the very long run, even the technology can be changed, right? So in the places where different types of what you called producer expectations are met, we identified equilibrium points, right? In short run production, when the producer takes a wage or what you call marginal resource cost of labor equals to marginal revenue product of labor, we identify that is the optimum place to run the cost of what you call run in the short run, right? In long run, in the place where isoconcave and isocost curve tangent, we identify the optimum place to run. And we identified the economically feasible region by basing on the ridgeline also, and return to scale concept and the Cobb-Douglas production function concept. So you may need to have a clear knowledge on the flowing of the sessions, right? Then after identifying the production, we need to discuss on the cost concept also. That is because production is directly relating to the cost concept, right? If you haven't any production, is there any cost? Right? Maybe not. Right, Lamai? So cost and production is interrelated, right? So you need to have a thorough knowledge on the theory of cost also, right? So here, Lamai, the thing that we're going to discuss is that how this cost concept, right, relates to the production. Just for an explanation, right? What can we do, right? What can we do to make this cost, right? Or else, what is the ultimate target? I discuss it, right? I'll go to this side. What is the ultimate target, Lamai? What is the ultimate target of a producer, or any case, any what you called any types of producer? What is the ultimate target? Anyone? Anyone, Lamai? Profit increase, yes, of course. Maximizing the profit, right? Maximizing profit is the ultimate target. So to maximize the profit, you can take, right? You can take two different approaches, right? Two different approaches. The first approach is the increase of the output with a available cost. When the cost is fixed, right? When you have a fixed cost, or otherwise when you have a certain available cost, think that your cost is 1,000. If your production units is 50, by increasing these production units into 55 or 60, you can maximize profit. How you are going to do that, Lamai? Just for example, these are well known, right? You have 1,000, what you called cost. Your production level is 50, right? Production level is 50. You have 30, you are receiving 30 rupees for a one product. Then what is your revenue? What? 1,500. So think that with this cost, available cost, you increase your production 60, right? So what is your new revenue? 1,800. So what happens to the revenue, Lamai? Increase. Meanwhile, profit also increase, right? This is a one scenario you can take. In the other scenario, right, you are not increasing the production, but you take steps to decrease the cost, right? Your production is in here, your profit is now rupees 500, right? Because profit is simply equal total revenue to minus total cost, right? So now 500, 1,500 subtract by 1,500. So now you decrease your cost into 900, right? What will be your revenue? 600. Profit 600, right? So these two different approaches can be seen, can be taken by the producer, right, Lamai? So under the theory of cost, to reduce this cost or maintain cost or to meet different types of scenarios in the changing environment, right? You need to have knowledge on the theory of cost, so that we need to have knowledge or we need to learn about theory of cost also, right, Lamai? So by basing on those points, we can discuss the theory of cost, right, in short run under these topics, right? We at the very beginning we identify the concept of cost of production, right? Cost of production. And we discussed about a concept called accounting cost and economic cost, right? How the accountant identified the cost concept, and also how a economic person or an economist identify the cost concept. By basing on that, we calculate accounting profit and economic profit, right? If there is any difference between accounting cost and economic cost, there must be a difference between accounting profit and economic profit also. So we identified accounting profit and economic profit as two different concepts, right? Then we are discussing different types of short-run cost curves and their shapes, right? And also the behavior, their behavior. Right, Lamai? Total fixed cost, total variable cost, total cost, and different types of average costs also. Right? Likewise. Hopefully we'll discuss this in the next part. And the relationship between these different types of cost curves. Average cost curves, total cost curves, right? Fixed cost, and the variance between this TVC and total cost is the TFC likewise. Right? So we all know production is a systematic process where we includes inputs in order to take output, right? To make this happen, we have a process to follow, right, Lamai? In this entire process, different types of costs need to incur, right? Different types of costs need to incur. So in this session, we are identifying these different types of costs, right? So cost of production, right? Simply, it is mainly expenses that is expend in the production process. To produce the commodity, what types of different expenses do we need to incur is mentioned in the cost of production. Or otherwise, it is the total amount of money spent on the production of a commodity, the amount of money we spend. The determinants of cost of production are different types of determinant: size of the plant, level of the production, in which level we are producing, in a bulk level or a single unit level, right? The nature of the technology used, though we are relying more onto labor, or though we are relying more onto capital. Likewise, the quantity of inputs used, the amount of inputs that is used, managerial and labor efficiency. That means the technical superiority that the managerial and the labor capacity is having. Likewise, different types of determinants for the cost of production. Easy concept. So what is cost? Right? What is cost? Cost has different types of meanings. Right? Cost has different types of meanings. We are finding out this cost meaning, right? Earlier we identified what is meant by cost of production. That is mean by the total money, right? Total expenses. So by basing on different types of meaning to the cost, we identified different types of costs: accounting costs and economic cost, and also in the aspect of behavior of the costs, we identify likewise, right? These costs have different meanings. So we'll discuss, since we have to discuss accounting costs and economic costs, we'll continue from here on the next session. right? I'll again discuss what is meant by costs, and then we can finish this part on next session, and hopefully we'll begin the long run part also, right? So up to now, is there anything to ask, Lamai, or is there anything to clarify? Tell me. Is there anything, Lamai? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, nothing to ask. We have done some what we called complex points today, right? So just take the meaning. Another 3 weeks, I think. 3.5 in exactly. I'm not going to give any extension, right? Because we have to move forward for the rest of the assignments also. So your classroom test, right? We have completed 8 sessions up to production theory. So your classroom test is will be with the first 8 lessons, right? First 8 lesson, and it concludes the another what you called another assignment. That means 2 assignments are okay, and as per our plan, we have 3, right? We have 3. The next one is from the macro part, right? Once I complete the first 3 session, I'll tell what to do on the third topic, Lamai. So I'll tell you the exact date for the next what you called next assignment, right? Since we have completed the 8 session by today, right? I am going to have the midterm test, or we'll take it as assignment, right? Assignment classroom test by basing on those 8 parts. First lesson is introduction, second demand, third consumer behavior, fourth production, yes, right? We have discussed 8 topics by basing on 4 major topics, right? අපි major topics 4ක් යටතේ topics 8ක් කතා කරලා තියෙනවා, right? First 2 lessons අපි first 2 topics වලින් කතා කරා. topics 3කින් අපි consumer behavior කතා කරා, topics 3කින් අපි production කතා කරා. එතකොට topics 8යි ඔක්කොම. ඒ topics 8ෙන් මම classroom test එක තියෙනවා. තියන්නේ LMS, right? LMS mode එකෙන් තමයි තියන්නේ. එතකොට I'm going to take you attendance අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ most probably this will be a 30-minute paper, right? MCQ paper with 30 minutes, right ළමයි? එතකොට MCQ 25ක් තමයි මම දෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. So you may have idea on whether you can copy or not, right? So specific measures will be taken definitely, because I am using another 2 invigilators for this from my colleagues, right? So you may receive different types of questions, right? I'm not going to give the exact paper. So different types of strategies will be used. So
we'll discuss furthermore on the next session with the exact date, right? So just remember, most probably you will have your midterm test by the midweek of the September, right? So you have another 1.5 month to go through these different these 8 topics. Another 1.5 months, right? To go with the by these sessions. Most probably midweek of the September. Just for what you called date 17th of September. Just remember that in the 17th of September, right? On there, I am starting the session at 7:15, right? And you will have the marking of attendance and everything up to 7:30. Then you will have 7:30 to 8 o'clock the paper, and we'll continue the lecture from 8 to 10. That will be our plan. Classroom test එක ළමයි ගැන තමයි මම මේ පැහැදිලි කරගෙන ඉන්නේ. group මේ message එකක් තියෙනවා chat box එකේ. අපි 17th classroom test එක තියෙනවා. Right? Wait, I'll mark it. Classroom test. Start at 6:30. Ending at 7:30. More on this. Remind before 20. Right. That will be our plan. Okay. මම පැහැදිලි කරපුවා පැහැදිලි කියලා මම හිතනවා. ඒ plan එකට අපි වැඩ ටික කරගෙන යමු එහෙනම්. 17th of September, right? Classroom test එක තියෙනවා. log වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? paper එක view කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒ හැම දෙයක්ම මම in due course ඔයාලට පැහැදිලි කරනවා. Right ළමයි? So is there anything to ask?
Recording stopped.
Anything to be asked?